the rock on the forums, and this will be a quick introduction. Here we have an object in our scene, and we'll do a quick test render. And you can see it has some really crisp shadows here, hard edge shadows, and they're underneath where these piles are for the house. We're going to show you one way how to get rid of these. Let's go on over to render tab and set up for multipass, which is down here under the output tab. I've already got it set up, but I'll show you how to add that. Just quickly add. First thing you need to do before you get into that is make sure you pick Photoshop. Pick your name file, set the file name, come down here to add, and you can pick whatever you wish. If you want to pick more than one, just hold down the Control key and scroll down to it. On this one, we're just going to do depth, background, diffuse, and shadow. We're mainly concerned with the shadows. I put the others in for future lessons, tips and trips. Now we're going to render it. And I've already got this one named, so I'll call this 2. We'll save it. And there's our render. And kind of small, but it'll suit our purposes. You can see the hard edge shadows, and we're going to fix that. Okay, it's Rock back here again. We're going to we're in here in Open Shop, and we're going to open up our file that we just did in Carrara. Find it, and we called it Pile Building Tube. I'm going to use Pile Building, the original. And there's our file. It's a pretty simple render, not much to it, but it will serve our purposes here. Here are our multipass render layers here in Photoshop. We have shadow, top, diffuse, background, and image. And it also renders out channels. And we see the distance over here, various RGB, red, green, and blue. And what we're going to work on is shadows. This is not a Photoshop course, so you may need to freshen up a little bit if you haven't used it in a while. These are the eyes. This will turn off and turn off on layers. I'm going to turn off diffuse, and you notice that we have our shadow layers. Make sure it's highlighted. We're going to do this real simply. We're going to go up here to our lasso tool. And we're going to select this entire area. Now that our entire area is selected, we're going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and we're going to blur these edges. See how you remember how crisp and hard edge it was in there? Well, we're just going to blur it a little bit more, make it not so hard edge. Click OK, and it will be applied. While that's still selected, we're going to go down to the fill percentage and reduce that a little bit. You don't want quite that. At 100%, you can still see these are almost unnatural, and it takes away from the scene, in my opinion. So we're going to reduce that quite a bit. And about there. You can always adjust it. And Control D to remove our selection. Let's turn on diffuse, and there's our new and improved shadows. It's not hard edge anymore. Let's kind of remove this part in here. If you don't want that part anymore, just go back to the shadow layer and actually get rid of part of this. Type Control X, that removes that, and you don't have that. You may have to do some cleanup. One way you can do a cleanup is go to your panel over here. You can select a brush, select a small brush that has some feathered edge to it. I chose 21, and then go down to your color picker, and you can come over and select the color. Click OK. Back to the brush. You can add more in to smooth it out, make the shadow any way you want. You can use your eraser to erase shadows that you don't want. Further sculpt your shadow. You want this up here, get rid of some down here. Maybe kind of put some projections in there to make it a little uneven. Turn back on the diffuse layer, see what it looks like. A little unnatural. We'll erase this. And it's just fun to go in here and edit. You can see it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of things you can do in Photoshop.